Hey Saber fans. So, got a couple ROTJ Sabers for you here today. First of which will be the new 89sabers DV6. This is a fantastic ROTJ Vader. Not even gonna lie. This has a lot going for it. I'll show off everything at the end. What I wanted to show off was that. So upon initial boot, it'll show your battery level indicator. And you can do that differently depending on your programming. You can have it do it per fonts or at boot like that. But hell yeah. Responsive blade. Of course, soundtracks. End users can always customize that to whatever they want to as far as the font goes. Let's see if I can do lightning block. I haven't even actually tried this out yet. I think you press and hold main and then hit auxiliary. Ah, yeah, there it is. Lightning block. It's actually the first time I've ever seen lightning block in person. That's nice. I wonder if I got twist activation for this. Yep. Alright, let's do that again. That was dope. Ah, shit. Help me, Anakin! I'm the only one who can save Padme! And of course, I love that twist on and twist off retraction. I've been trying to get the stab ignition to work, and then twist retraction, but I haven't quite figured that out yet. I keep having issues with compiling. This saber has a lot going for it. So now that you've seen the fun part. So, yeah. Actually, I might as well just run you through all the fonts. So the first one, Bank 1, I've kind of created a default standard font package, programming package, all that. So 12 fonts, all free fonts, and 12 styles. The first style I usually make the color of the themed hilt, which is Eton, but I also incorporated saved preset. So whatever preset you leave on after you kill power is what you'll start back up with. So this is technically Bank 1. Of course you can change colors on the fly with auxiliary and main. Let's get red on there. There we go. I love that this is a free font and it has preons with it. And also with the programming, it is incorporated into it, so awesome, right? Let's see how the force lockup is on there, or the force lightning is. Oh, God. It's pretty hot. So then we do Kyber's Workshop, blue, green. Actually, I'll just run you through them real quick. Go back to blue. Nice sky blue. I love that we have force lock up in the default Proffie OS now. That is so awesome.
Green.
Nice snap hiss ignition on the green.
Red.
And of course the first one I've shown you. Yeah, it's just, I think it just, I'm guessing that if there's no force lightning file, it just defaults to lock up.
Purple.
That is a very, you know what? I think I have my programming different. I think this is white. This is silver.
Yellow.
Yeah, see, there's purple.
White.
There's yellow.
Team C.
Got an orange. Got our unstable Kylo blade. In case you couldn't tell, this is really loud. Oh yeah, then we got a power burst. It's like pulses of energy coming up the blade.
Smooth Jedi.
Flame blade, so I'm sure you've seen this before. Travels back up the blade.
Smooth gray.
And we have our dark saber.
Eton.
And back to Eton. Okay. So that's the fun parts. Now, the more technical spot that a lot of people will be interested in as well. I put the blade retention down in here. Right underneath the screw for this. It seemed like they wanted this to be blade retention with how it was. But there was this hole just right there. There was no purpose to the hole. Anything. It was an untapped black anodized hole for no reason. I was like, why wouldn't you make that blade retention? It's like the perfect spot for it, you know? And I will say that the blade holder on this is super snug for standard 1-inch blades. Like, I sanded this down a lot for it to work. So if you're expecting to get, like, you know, a regular 1-inch Vader's Vault blade in and slap it in there, good luck with that. And it did come with a nice blade plug too. I would highly recommend this kit for any ROTJ fan, specifically Vader's ROTJ hilt. There are a few issues I have with it, but there's a lot of pros I have with this. You know, it's the best one we got yet. You know, I mean, there's the Corbenth V1 and there's the Saber Forge. That's really it. Then you got this beauty. Comes pre-anodized black. I believe painted black is more accurate, but this just looks amazing anodized. Got your nice little belt D-ring there. Actually got a nut down in there for the D-ring, and there's actually, you might be able to see, there's actually a small nylon washer up against the nut. Nah, it's not going to focus for that. Oh, well, anyways. A nice shine through on that blade plug. And you'll notice we got some shining through on the eye too. And right there, I love that it shines through in all these spots. Let's put that on mute, shall we? But yeah, the shine through on that, and here, I mean, taking this eye out. That's so freaking cool. I love that they did that. It's those little things like that that set it apart. The other big thing that I really loved about this that 89 Sabers did is that these screws, they're actually threaded. The original V1 was, you just glued them in. That freaking sucked. Like, doing maintenance on it, like uninstalling it. Most people use super glue. Please don't use super glue. It is such a pain in the ass to get off. But these are threaded. Beautiful. The one weird thing about it is the fact that there's a hole in it already, but they also use like a threading adapter or something like that. So it actually sticks out inside the blade holder just a smidge to where you cannot get a LED module, NeoPixel module, whatever, down in there without modifying it. So yeah, I did actually take a TCSS NeoPixel module, which is what this is using. Just kind of dremeled the side of it. That way it would slide down over this particular heads. Because, you know, it's got this big freaking wire sticking out. It's hard to explain. But this has a lot going for it. The only two real gripes I have with it are those threading adapters, is what I'm going to call them. And this little Phillips is wanting to come undone. There we go. Well, that was easy. The threading adapters and this knurled screw. You'll see that whenever I unthread it, it's quite a short screw. It's pretty darn short. And what they did, I'll move the shroud up. You actually see a little plastic greebly in there. So essentially what that does is almost nothing, actually. Like this threads into nothing except this. So like I don't even have to unthread it to move it up. Actually, no, it stays on there. Good. It's just catching that lip around the plastic, which is an odd design choice, but you know, I'm guessing that they already had it made and decided to just run with it. Either way, still a fantastic hilt. Got your nice little brass pins in there. They are smooth brass pins. The PCB for this, you might even be able to catch a glimpse of it. It's a red PCB. You can't really see it. I can see it in person, barely, if I got enough light. It has a nice little red PCB that holds two switches, and these plungers are awesome. And the setup for this control box is wonderful. You know, that's a complete separate piece. You can only put it on one way. This was really well done. There's a screw right there, and that's actually not what's holding this on. There is another screw on the inside threaded into, I think, this chunk. And you actually have to... It may have been this chunk, actually. Because I think I was actually able to get to it from the inside. I never took it off because there was no point. I was able to completely disassemble it just by getting rid of this one Phillips right here. But this is a really good ROTJ Vader. And then they have the plastic grips. Or, sorry, rubber grips. I did pay a little extra money from Saber Bay to Saber Bay for him to attach the grips with a guide. And it's fantastically well done. Hats off to you, Justin. Do astounding work. Valuable member of the community. Really. No kidding. One thing that I was surprised about was the D-ring on this. Multiple things. Good things and bad things. The best thing was the sound venting. The sound venting on this is killer. It is awesome. I absolutely love it. I'll take this out and show you that. That is the sound venting. No visible holes whatsoever. And you've seen how loud it was. It's freaking awesome. I absolutely love this hilt. Now, I pushed the chassis all the way up. Go and get that out of the way. So I used the Goth 3 Designs PIY chassis. I pushed the chassis all the way up in there. Retention screw is in the center of this. That holds the chassis as well as the control box. Good job, Goth and 89sabers. And it seems like it's just a hair bit too long, actually, as far as the speaker holder goes. Because if I don't put this O-ring in there, it will rattle against the speaker. And you can see it. It's flush. It's completely flush against it. But that's the reason for the O-ring. And dual effect is, you know, whenever I don't have the O-ring in there, it will actually go into the standard position for the D-ring. Now I can actually show you with this. Not really. Let's take this O-ring out. I'll show you that way. I think it's also the additional sound venting is owing to this little space right here. There's also a matching space right here. I think that pushes out more sound because it's not threaded. I don't know, honestly. It would make sense, but okay. So got her threaded. Make sure you lube your parts, ladies and gentlemen. So whenever it doesn't have the O-ring in there, lines up with the control box. I was under the impression that this was the correct orientation. Which, you know, both of them make sense, because your control box isn't going to be in your way. And even the other way, the control box isn't going to be in your way. But I guess, you know, I was under the impression this is accurate. I could be wrong. There is an accuracy war going on every day of every week of every year of every decade of every century of every millennia. Accuracy war will never end. So what I did for this O-ring in the bottom, and whenever it gets nice and tight is whenever it hits that correct orientation. You can tighten it up the rest of the way, but there's no point. So, you know, it's right there, it's good and tight. Only downside to this is you need to loosen this first before loosening this. Which isn't really much of a downside, you just got to remember something. Which can be a chore for some people, myself included. So you might be wondering where the board is. It's hidden so well. Great job, Goth 3 Designs. Great job. You know, let's just throw your name out there right there, like da-da-da-da. Love your chassis, man. Keep up the good work. I love the print it yourself chassis. They help so much. And of course, removable battery. Easy as that. Got your positive and your negative. But yeah, that board, it's hidden perfectly. Lots of room for a micro SD cable. This does have a 28mm. I used a WOW or a Chinese speaker. I think I used a WOW speaker. TCS WOW. Yeah, even without this on for extra sound venting. Really loud. Now for shits and giggles, I'll go ahead and show you the issue I was having without the O-ring in. Might as well. The threading on this is very fine. Do not cross thread this. Take your time. It's not quite like the creepy Uncle Grip section where it's just like super coarse thread and it's like, oh, I love it. It's so easy to get on there. So, this threads on just fine. You know, got nice orientation on the D-ring. I'm gonna go and do this. So, it's fine. Hear that? No bueno. No bueno, sir. That's what the O-ring's for. Yay, O-ring. Ooh, that one on easy that time. That's nice. Go and flip this bad boy off. But yeah, this is an excellent ROTJ Vader. Absolutely excellent. I do really like 89sabers quality stuff. Sometimes they kind of slip a little bit, but you know, it's just because they're probably rushed, like most Saber companies. Oh, yeah, one last look at her. Nice angled grips too. Nice diamond pattern, knurling on the thumb screw. One other modification I probably should bring to your attention was what I did to the eye on the front of it. So like I said, normally I think they wanted you to use this for blade retention. I shortened that quite a bit. It has a hard time autofocusing. It just wants to focus on me. It's like, don't care about me, care about the lightsaber. That's why you're watching this video. But I shortened that, and I did have to use a pretty short set screw for the blade. Used a 632. And I think it was like an 1/8 inch or maybe 3/16, but it was pretty tiny. Works well, but anyways, nice feedback on the switches. The switch setup was really nice too. The PCB layout, you know, they have holes on each side for the wires to feed down into, but with Goth's chassis it feeds up quite a ways, so you can only run it that way into the board. Don't want to run it this way because then you're going to be pushing over wires or whatnot. Don't want that. Anyways, hope you enjoyed it. And next stop is Luke Hero from our TJ time. My personal one. Till next time, thanks a lot, Saber fans.